I had gone to a conference, medical conference to England, and on the way back, before boarding the plane for Australia, I had bought some books by the sacred teachings of Guru Nanak. And I was very interested in those because my language is Punjabi and I grew up with those teachings. And in the plane, there was a man sitting next to me, an Englishman, who, when he boarded the plane, seemed to me to be very abrupt and rude, because he was almost bullying the cabin staff about his gear. Later on, I found out that he was a filmmaker, and he was sitting next to me. I was very interested in reading the material, and I didn't really want to interact with him because of the way in which he behaved. When the food and the drinks came, he saw that I was a vegetarian, that is served before. And when the drinks trolley came, I didn't take alcohol. So he asked me, he said, "What do you do?" I said, "I'm a medical man." And he said, "Why are you vegetarian?" And ordinarily, when people used to ask me, I would, give an answer. But on this occasion, I wanted to be very abrupt with him. I wanted to shut him up. So I said, it's because it's not good for my meditation. And I used to do meditation. And then he said, "Oh, you don't drink either?" I said, "Yes." He said, when I have any drink, it actually affects my thinking for a few days. I can't be that concentrated, so I don't have any alcohol. And then he said, "Is it for health reasons?" And I said, no, not for health reasons, for spiritual reasons. So then he said to me, "I am going to Philippines." And really I was not interested in where he was going. The plane was going from London to Manila, and then from London to Karachi, and then it was going to Manila and to Sydney. But I was getting off in Karachi because family, her brothers lived there, and I was going to get off in Karachi, and he was going to Manila. I found out afterwards. And he said, I am going to Manila, and I'm going to see someone there. He is a psychic surgeon. A psychic surgeon? You mean neurosurgeon? He said, "No, psychic surgeon." And I thought, what's a psychic surgeon? He said, "Oh, this man is very powerful. He puts people on a table, and with a finger he opens their abdomen, just like that, and he takes out the organs, he washes them, and he puts them back, and he does this, and everything is back to normal." I thought he was mad. And I said, I told you I'm a doctor, but I'm actually a surgeon. And this is not how surgery is done. You don't take out organs and wash them and put them back into the abdomen, and nor do you open the abdomen with a finger. You use a knife and it bleeds. And he said, "Well, why don't you come with me to Manila? And I'll take you to this land." And again, I thought he was mad. I mean, I'm getting off in Karachi, getting off Manila. It's not a bus that I can get off anywhere. So I said, "Have you been to see this land?" And he said, "Yes, I have been there. I'm actually going to go and make a movie. I'm going to make a film out of this." And he said, then he looked at me and he said, "He claims his powers come from Sai Baba." So my question was, who is Sai Baba? This is 1987. Now, in the background, I had a Sri Lankan surgeon working in the same hospital that I did, and he had told me that he had a guru, and he used to wear vibhuti on the head in the hospital, and he was Tamil, and at the time there was this Tamil tiger business, and he was very vociferous about the crimes that the government of Sri Lanka was committing against the Tamil people. And so I had put him into a pigeonhole as a Tamil tiger, right, in my mind. So I was not listening to what he was saying. He was telling me that there is a fantastic guru in India that it would be a good idea to go and see. And he had said that to me because on the coffee table in my office, there was a book on quantum physics, the Tao of physics, which is really about Vedic teachings about quantum physics, really. Anyway, that was in the background, and I'd forgotten about this. This man was saying that he can open the abdomen and that, and I said, his powers come from Sai Baba. And I said, who is Sai Baba? He said, you have not heard of Sai Baba? So I said, no. He said, he's an avatar. And I said, looked at him, and he said, do you know what an avatar means? And he said, yes, I do. And he told me about all the Dash avatars. And I was a bit taken aback. And then he said, Sai Baba can heal people by touch, and he can actually revive dead people. So I said, I am not only a doctor and a surgeon, I am actually a medical scientist as well. I've got a research unit where I train people to do their PhDs. And I said, once you are dead, you are dead. You don't come back. The tissues disintegrate, and that's the end of it. The body goes. And he said, but Sai Baba is an avatar. So what? He said, do you tell an avatar what the limits are on the avatar? Do you put limits on God? I was taken aback with his question to me. So I said, and then we started to discuss. Initially I was reluctant to get involved with his conversation, but he drew me into this conversation. So we had a long conversation, and I discovered that he knew about Sufi teachings, he knew about Hindu teachings, he knew about the Quran and Bible. He was very deeply knowledgeable. And I was a bit confused. Because on the one hand, he was very knowledgeable, but he was saying didn't make any sense to me. Then I said to him, have you been to see Sai Baba? He said, yes. He said, I've been to see Sai Baba. I prayed for 2 years that he'd give me an interview. And I thought, what kind of a person is, Sai Baba? What kind of person is Sai Baba who would make people pray for 2 years before he'll talk with them? So I got a kind of a, negative view. I thought he was into some kind of a guru. And first he said he's a guru. And I said, India has got so many gurus. If you go to any village and you pick up any brick, there'll be 10 gurus under that. So then he had said, no, he's not a guru, he's an avatar. Anyway, so he said, I have been there, and the circumstances were like these, that I had a business partner who had cheated me, and he had taken all my money. And when I found out that he had taken all my money, I was penniless. I was very hurt. I was deeply wounded, and I decided to go and see Sai Baba to understand why this was happening to me. So he went there. He said he went there, and then I said, okay, you prayed for 2 years for an interview. Did you get one? He said, yes. So I said, what did Baba say to you? What did Sai Baba say to you? He said to me that in this life, he has only taken your money. But in the previous life, you had taken his money and his wife. So he has paid you your wife. So that's past karma coming true. So I said, did that help? He said, yes, that helped. And then we talked and talked and talked. Towards the end of the time, he said to me, you come to Manila. I thought he was mad. And the things I was very confused the way in which he was portraying things. And then he stood up, and I still remember with, tears in his eye, and he pulled out a packet of vibhuti with Sarvadharma on one side and the Shloka Parma Pavitram Baba Vibhuti on the other, which Baba had given him. And he said, keep this on you, it'll give you luck. Hey, this guy is into some drugs. He's got a guru who is giving him all this stuff. This is what is happening to him. So I took it from him, and I thought I'll discard this. Although when I looked at it, the Sarvadharma symbol and that didn't seem bad. Thought I'll just... And he told me a lot of stories. He was raising people from the dead, and how he could cure people by touch and so on. He had also asked me if I had read Man of Miracles. He asked me if I had read some of the books that later on like the yogi, autobiography of a yogi. And he said that the miracles are described of that. Anyway, I got off in Karachi. When I got off in Karachi, there had been a terror attack on the airport, and everything was chaotic. So although I had decided to throw this vibhuti away, my mind was, not only confused, but all this happening, we were very delayed, and my brother-in-law was waiting on the other end, and he, when I came out, he said, I've been waiting here a long time. The plane landed around midnight or 1 o'clock, and this was 5:30 in the morning. He said, what we'll do, rather than going home, let's have a cup of coffee. So we drove and had a cup of coffee. While having a cup of coffee, I said to him, I'm not a strange man, He's talking about a guru in India who can raise people from the dead. And as I was speaking, he was getting very excited. He said, I'd like to go and see him. And I thought, that's strange. I feel very suspicious, and he's taken everything that I'm saying. This is not even first-hand information. So I was there for 3 days or so, and he brought all the other relatives, and he wanted me to tell them the stories. And I was talking about Sai Baba without ever having seen Sai Baba, telling them the stories that I had heard. Okay? So I was saturated with Sai Baba. Then I came home, and she had come to collect me, and I'll pass it on to her, the background. And when she came to collect me, we live about maybe 10 minutes drive from the airport. We sat in the car, and I started to tell her, I said, I met a man on the aircraft, he was telling me about Sai Baba. So I told her a few stories. And she said, I must go and see him. She said, you're a scientist. You're a PhD.
He said something which was not very kind. He said, your whole family is gullible.
How can you be so gullible, right? You hear somebody saying this thing and you are immediately wanting to go and see.
And then you also said that you're a scientist. How can you just believe what you hear? And at that moment, I felt that it was somehow gone right in my heart. And that morning, I had a dream where I found my way without knowing the address. So it was a long dream. The ultimate message to me was, you have reached home. So when he started to tell me, it all clicked. And I said, must go and see him. That's when he said, how can you be so gullible?
Okay, so then we went home, and we thought, okay, we'll go again. We'll go to Shanti, or we didn't know Puttaparthi. We'll go and see Sai Baba and investigate him and see whether he is really authentic or he's just a fake guru.
In the meantime, what had happened with me was that I could not get him out of my mind. It became stronger and stronger and stronger. So that at that point, it was that let's go and see him.
See him. So, and then there was a friend of yours.
Yes, Carrie, a friend of mine, Canadian friend. She met me in the supermarket and we happened to talk. And then I said that Pal has come back from overseas and he has heard about Sai Baba. He said, oh my God, Sai Baba, I want to go and see him. I have been saving money. And when she started to tell me that she's been saving $1, $2 and putting in a jar, that made me think that, wow, for how long she's been wanting to go and see Sai Baba.
Okay, and then the same guy, the Sri Lankan doctor in Canberra, we made contact with him again, and he said, oh, I have been to see Sai Baba, and there are some books. Carrie told you that. There are some books, and so we got some books, Man of Miracles, and a couple other books, and we read them, and oh my God, this sounds good. We will go and investigate him. We accept it on, I said, I accept him on what people are saying. Let's go and see him and see if he's authentic. And we had a plan. Now, this is a crazy plan. We have 2 children, small children, and my brother was coming from Kenya. And we thought, okay, without discussing with him or his wife, we thought we will park the children with him. And
just for a week and
we'll go off and investigate this guy, the Sai Baba, and come back. Okay? And, we were kind of fairly firm in that plan. And one morning, he phoned and he cancelled the program. He's not coming. So...
And that morning, I had Swami dream. So he is in the house and just like a family member. He's talking, he's very happy, interacting with us. And then he says, now it is morning, I have to go back. So I said, stay for breakfast. How about aloo puri? I said, no, I will come back for that. I have to go. Why don't you come to me? And I said, how can I come to you? You are with me here now. He said, no, come to me. And I said, when can I come to you? He said, come to me tomorrow.
Okay.
And then...
So this was the message she got. And then she said, who phoned in the morning? So I said, no, Guru Charan, my brother phoned. He's not coming. And so she said, oh my God, does it mean that we can't go? I said, look, I have just been overseas. It was only within 2 or 3 weeks. I have just been overseas. I look after the kids, you go. So she was the first one in 8.
So I asked him, but can I go? He said, as far as I'm concerned, you can go tomorrow.
Same words as Swami. Right?
So that's how it started.
So this is how we came to Swami. And then she went and she came back and she was very transformed. And, I thought that's a great thing. And so I said, that's, you've really done well. And you're changed. And she said to me, well, it's your turn to go. Have an experience. Yeah. So then I went in February. This was in September, the time of
87, and you went in 88.
I went in February 88 at the time of Shivaratri. So that was my birth into Swami, actual visit in 88. So that's how we came to Swami.
Long story.
It's very interesting story. That was close to 40 years ago. And after that, you've had multiple experiences with Swami. Is there anything that you can share that's had a very major impact in your lives, or even a few of those instances that brought us?
So many experiences, so many. In fact, I started to go to Puttaparthi twice a year, sometimes 3 times a year. And Swami was kind enough. Every time I will go, he will give me the interview. So he really spoiled me in that way. And in the interview room, he used to be very informal. So for me, it was not like he's God. It was more like a friend, father, mother, and then the way he started to guide me, spiritual master. So yes, lots of experiences.
Well, I think you are asking for anything very outstanding. As she says, there have been numerous episodes. His presence, continuous presence, wherever we are, we feel his presence. I think that's the biggest experience. But I think in terms of happenings, if I can say, the first time I saw him in February, that was an amazing experience because I remember he came out of, in those days, there used to be sand. I went there and I got the first line on the next morning. And I saw him coming out of where he used to give the darshan on the lady side. And then just complete blank until he was standing in front of me and he was looking at me. And in that look, I think there was such power I can't describe because it was power, it was electrical, it was, I don't have the feeling, I can't express, right? But it was very, very, very powerful. And I went into the shops looking for a picture that will capture that look. Couldn't find it. And that look I can never forget. So that's one experience, the very first experience. But there have been numerous experiences. And the last experience that was many experiences, I've just been talking about them. He's actually present when I'm speaking in a conference in Canberra, and picture shows that he's standing behind me. That's another amazing experience. Appearance for Bhuti, Amrit, on his capacity to read thoughts and respond.
And how many times he saved our family, our children, us, from fatal accidents and from sickness. So it's been incredible.
And even in financial planning.
Yeah. Yes. That we were in serious trouble financially, and it was kind of situation where we could have gone bankrupt. At that time, the bank manager changed. The new manager came and he said, no worries, you can have this much money. It was a couple of $1 million at the time. Yeah, I can increase the loan.
This was when there was a global collapse.
Yeah.
Not the last collapse, the one before.
Went up to 23%.
23%. We were selling off a home to pay the interest for 1 month. Basically, our partner had made a mistake and committed himself to huge debt for the company. We were overseas at the time. Then the next time we went to Swami, said, a gift coming to you. And it was...
Yeah, that was...
Again, the partner had committed himself to purchase of land and we tried to get out of it. We couldn't. But that turned out to be such a gift.
Yeah, it was the finish of the interview. I was just going to go out from the room. Swami was at the door and he very lovingly smiling, he said, Christmas gift coming to you. So,
I mean, that's another big story, but the gist of it is that our partner had overcommitted ourselves to a block of land, and in ACT, you cannot speculate on land. In those days, you could not, right? You have to build. And we didn't have the capacity, and the government wanted to take the land back, and make a fine of the same amount and over the interest, right? But somehow a New Zealand firm came up and they said, if you can pay for the land, we will build this complex of 108 units.
The total was 139.
139, some of them were for government, some of them for selling. 108 were for selling. So we will make it for you, but you have to pay for the land. So we got money from my brother with a big amount for him. And the 108 units were sold off the plans on a cold winter morning in
Never before.
40 minutes. 40 minutes.
So there's that many miracles, incidences, Sai incidences. Really.
Throughout our life, I think we go from day to day, but
Yes,
there are kind of...
in every direction.
What about interactions with Swami? I'm sure viewers would like to know a few experiences you've had, speaking with Swami or interactions.
Well, Swami has been very generous. That the number of interviews he gave me, I would say that it's very hard to even share that now. We used to hold each other's hands, smile, fight, and talk, and I could tell him whatever was in my heart. And he will mock me, and at times he will guide me. So it's been quite a journey. I would say that he held my hand. My background is Islamic, and in that, the concepts of avatar and also reincarnation and being divine in nature don't come about. In fact, if one would be saying that, could be, what will be the consequence. So he has, the way he taught me has been incredible for me. Whenever I had a conflict, he would explain to me that, like my prophet or my own deity, Hazrat Ali, he would say, we have come from the same light. So where is the conflict? Doesn't matter. You take my name, but his name, it's the same. So like that, he really gave me all these concepts very nicely. And I would say in the first 9 months, a year, I will have his dreams multiple times. And in dreams, he will give guidance. He will solve my problems. And I remember those days I used to love going to sleep. That I will have Swami dream. It's not dream. I will have Swami dreams. Baba dreams. So now thinking back does make me a little emotional as well. I guess when you get so much, one starts to take it for granted as well, that he will be there. Although I must say that when he left his body, I was very strong. That morning he came in my dream, and not only that, he took me for a walk and we had a cup of tea together. So it was so real in the dream that he's gone nowhere. When people were very upset, I was the one telling them, why are you so upset? He's not gone anywhere. But I guess now there is a bit of a longing.
I think just talking on that, when he was sick, as a medical man, I could see that all the data that was coming out on his health was not compatible with life. But knowing that he can do anything, and I had to willingly hold my disbelief in suspension, maybe he would get better. Okay, so I was totally devastated. And I flew there, and we were there, and Swami was lying in state in a casket. So we could sit, we could go and sit near and pray, and the place was very gloomy. Okay. And then the last day, when he was going to be put into the samadhi, they had excavated and then they put screens around. And even at that moment, when the body was lifted, I thought he would suddenly come back. The realization that that was the final. They put screens around, and I must say that I was expecting when the screen was open, he will be there, right? I was sitting there, looking at the floor in Prasanthi in the mandir. And as I was watching, on the floor appeared a vision. Swami was fine. He was sitting on a throne. And soon it changed into the form of Krishna, and then Rama, and then many other forms. And I was pinching myself because I couldn't believe that here was Swami being put into the samadhi, but he was alive. You know, it was a vision so real. I don't know, he was hoping that I'd get reassured that he's alive. But I must say that I didn't get that reassurance. I could intellectually appreciate it, but I didn't get that in my DNA. I missed that body, you know.
And then you called.
I called. I said, I'm getting out of here.
Yes, he was feeling very depressed that could you get the earlier flight. So
I can't stay here. And then my daughter,
our daughter and I, she said, no, Dad should be there. He has to overcome that. Otherwise, if he comes back, he will be very, very depressed. So he has to stay there for a few more days.
It took me nearly 4 years. My message is that unity, love, working together as a family, supporting each other, involving in depth in the spiritual teachings of Swami, yes, that's the future. That's the way ahead. We can change the world with that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.